Listen carefully. This message is not for everyone, but if you are tired of waiting, questioning, and wondering whether God still hears you, this is for you. Before you move forward, before you scroll away, before you decide this is just another video, I need you to pause, because moments like this don't come by accident. Some of you have been praying for years, you didn't quit. But if you're honest, you almost did. You smiled in public, but cried in private. You said, I trust God, but deep down you were asking, Lord, when? Now hear this clearly. God knows the desires of your heart, not the ones you speak out loud, the ones you buried because disappointment hurt too much. And if you believe even a little that God is speaking to you right now, I want you to do something bold. Type amen in the comments. Not for me, but as a declaration of faith. Don't skip this message. Don't rush it. Because what God is about to reveal may answer the very prayer you stopped talking about. This is not motivation. This is not hype. This is a divine reminder that God's silence does not mean his absence. Stay with me till the end, because what you hear next may change how you see your waiting, your pain, and your future forever. There are times in life when the weight of your desires feels unbearable. You've prayed, you've waited, and you've questioned whether God still sees you. But I tell you with certainty today, God knows the desires within your heart. He has seen every tear that fell in silence. He has counted every sleepless night when you whispered prayers that only he could hear. You may feel forgotten, but he has not forgotten you. God never overlooks the soul that trusts him. He is not absent. He is not silent. He is working behind the scenes, preparing a sudden breakthrough that will leave you amazed by his might. There comes a time when your faith must rise above your feelings. You must stop measuring God's promises by the size of your struggles. The moment you think he is late is often the exact moment he is setting the stage for your miracle. God doesn't hurry, but he is never delayed. Every desire that was planted in your heart, one that is pure, sincere, and full of faith, was placed there by him. And what God plants, he intends to nurture. He has heard your cries for change. He has seen your yearning for healing, restoration, love, success, and peace. And right now, he is speaking to your spirit. Trust me, I know what you want. I understand your needs, and I know the right time to bring it forth. When you trust God completely, you stop chasing after outcomes and begin to rest in his perfect timing. You learn to yield your timeline to his wisdom. Sometimes God holds back what you want because he is preparing what you truly need. At times he delays a blessing not to punish you, but to build your strength. Every closed door is not a rejection, it's a redirection. Every setback is not the end. It's a divine setup in disguise. Your desires have not been forgotten. They are simply being refined in the waiting room of faith. The enemy will try to convince you that God has ignored you. He will whisper that your prayers are fruitless, your patience wasted, and your hope foolish. But remember, God's silence is not his absence. His stillness is not his neglect. When it seems like nothing is happening, God is at work moving things into place. When the heavens seem quiet, God is speaking through the events around you, aligning circumstances and bringing people and opportunities to meet you at the right moment. You may not see it now, but your miracle is closer than you think. In seasons of waiting, God tests your trust by concealing his hand. You seek signs, but they seem to disappear. You expect immediate answers, but they don't come. But that is when faith flourishes. Faith is not proved when everything is clear. It's proved when nothing makes sense. Trusting God means believing that he is working even when you can't see it. It means standing firm when everything around you is telling you to give up. It means saying, God, I don't understand, but I still trust you. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith invites miracles. Miracles don't come from striving. They come from surrender. They happen when you finally release control and say, God, I trust you even when I don't see the way. God responds to surrender. He blesses obedience. When you stop trying to make things happen and begin aligning your desires with his will, you make room for divine acceleration. What others may take years to achieve, God can accomplish for you in an instant. What seemed impossible yesterday can be turned around in a single night. One word from God can transform everything. There is a difference between yearning and desperation. Desperation arises from fear, but desire, true godly desire, is birthed from faith. When your desires align with God's will, he delights in fulfilling them. The Bible tells us that when we trust God with all our heart and lean not on our own understanding, he directs our steps. This means he doesn't just see where you are, he knows where you're headed. Sometimes a delay isn't a denial, it's divine protection. God keeps you from certain things, not because he wants to take something away from you, but because he's preserving you for something greater. Maybe you've been praying for a change in your life, whether it's for an opportunity, a relationship, healing, or peace of mind. And it seems like the heavens are silent. But hear this, God never overlooks a faithful heart. Every desire that honors him has its appointed time. You may not know when or how, but it will come. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who brought light into darkness, who raised the dead to light, is the same God working in your life today. He has not changed. His power remains the same. His love is unshaken. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. Sometimes God allows you to walk through barren seasons to test your perseverance and prove your loyalty. Waiting is not punishment, it's preparation. He's teaching you to trust him even when you can't trace his steps. He's building your strength, your patience, your humility, and your spiritual depth. Because when the sudden miracle arrives, and it will, you'll be ready to receive it with wisdom and gratitude. You see, God doesn't just give blessings, he builds people to carry it. He's not interested in giving you something that will overwhelm you. That's why he refines your heart first. He purifies your intentions. He shapes your desires so that when he fulfills them, you will glorify him, not yourself. Desires that come from a surrendered heart always attract divine favor. And when your faith and desires meet at the intersection of trust, that's when miracles take place. Think about this. God has already gone ahead of you. He has prepared a path you cannot yet see. He has written your story with divine precision. The people you are meant to meet, the doors that are meant to open, the answers you have been waiting for, they are already in motion. You don't have to chase them. You only need to stay aligned with God's plan. When you walk in obedience, miracles will pursue you. Many people lose their blessings because they give up too soon. They grow tired in the waiting. They doubt God's promises because they don't see immediate results. But faith doesn't grow in ease. It grows in perseverance. God is testing you now to see if you will still trust him even when the evidence is hidden. Can you still praise him while you wait? Can you still believe when everything seems uncertain? The answer to these questions will determine how soon your miracle will come. There's a reason God hasn't given you everything you've asked for yet. He's not withholding it to harm you. He's protecting you from what you are not yet prepared to handle. He knows the perfect timing that will bless you, not break you. At times, what feels like a delay is God telling you, wait, I'm still writing your story. And when the time is right, he will reveal it in a way that makes every tear worthwhile. You'll look back and understand that his not yet was really his way of saying, I'm preparing something bigger. Never underestimate the power of trust. When you fully place your trust in God, when you stop trying to figure it all out, you release the pressure of performance and open the door for his power to manifest. Trust isn't a weakness, it's strength. It's saying, God, I may not understand this season, but I trust the purpose you have within it. That kind of trust turns waiting into worship. It turns confusion into confidence. It prepares you for a miracle that will come unexpectedly, without notice, without explanation, but exactly when it's meant to. Some miracles don't come slowly. They come all at once. God works in divine moments. A single moment of favor can erase years of struggle. A single encounter can change your destiny. A prayer spoken in faith can open the doors you've been waiting for all this time. That's why you must stay faithful. You never know when your suddenly will come. It could happen when you least expect it, when you stop striving, when you've completely surrendered your will. God is a specialist in surprises. When your back is against the wall and everything you plan seems to fall apart, that's when you're closest to a breakthrough. God allows you to reach the end of your strength so that you will fully depend on him. He removes all false sources of security to show you that he alone is all you truly need. And when you place your trust entirely in him, he releases blessings no one can explain. That's the beauty of divine timing. It always leaves you in awe. You may be walking through a tough time right now. You may feel surrounded by uncertainty, invisible, unheard, or forgotten. But trust me, God has not forgotten you. He knows the deepest desires in your heart, even the ones you are too afraid to voice. He knows what keeps you awake at night and what wears you down during the day. And he's telling you, be still. Trust me. I am working everything together for your good. Sometimes God's greatest miracles are hidden in what seems like ordinary moments. You may think nothing is happening, but something is shifting in the unseen. God's invisible hand is moving pieces that you can't yet see. The very thing that seems like a setback might actually be the foundation for your breakthrough. The pain that brought you to your knees might be the soil where your miracle will sprout. Don't curse the process that's leading you to your promise. If you've been waiting for years, holding on to a dream that hasn't come true yet, don't give up. God doesn't forget his promises. He hasn't canceled your destiny. What he spoke over your life still holds. The dream that seems buried will rise again in his time. You may not know when, but you can rest in the assurance that he knows exactly when. God is never early, never late, but always right on time. Some of you are about to witness a shift so sudden it will leave you speechless. God is about to turn your waiting into witnessing. The tears you've shed in secret will become public testimonies. The delay you've endured will make the blessing even sweeter. The moment you release control and surrender everything to God, that's when your miracle starts to unfold. When God decides the time has come, no power in heaven or on earth can stand in his way. When he says it's done, it's done. Your struggle will give birth to newfound strength. Your silence will transform into a song of victory. Your pain will become the platform from which you rise. Every challenge you face will reveal why the waiting was essential. God will take what the enemy meant for harm and use it to elevate you. That's the nature of divine turnaround. That's the essence of sudden miracles. God doesn't just answer your prayers. He exceeds your expectations. He doesn't just meet your needs. He multiplies your blessings. He doesn't just restore. He renews. That's why you must never give up on what you've prayed for. The same God who brought order from chaos can turn your brokenness into beauty. The same God who parted the sea can remove the obstacles in your life. The same God who raised nations from dust can lift you from despair. So keep believing, keep trusting, and keep walking by faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. The desires in your heart are not random. They are part of the divine blueprint for your life. If God placed them there, he will fulfill them. He is too wise to make mistakes and too loving to ignore your prayers. You may not understand everything right now, but one day you'll look back and see that every season of waiting was worth it. Every delay was part of the plan. Every pain had a divine purpose. And when that moment comes, when the miracle arrives, you'll realize that it was never about how hard you tried, but about how deeply you trust it. God's power is revealed not through your striving, but through your surrender. So lift your head, steady your heart, and trust him completely. Your miracle is not lost. It's already written in God's plan. And when the time is right, it will come suddenly, powerfully, and beautifully, just as he promised. There comes a time when your faith must be stronger than your frustration. When you stop asking, why hasn't it happened yet? And start declaring, God is preparing something greater than I ever imagined. That's the moment your spirit rises above the storm. Because faith isn't about ignoring reality. It's about trusting that God has authority over it. You may not see how the pieces fit, but God is the master architect. He's not merely watching your story unfold. He's writing it with precision, purpose, and love. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour is part of the divine pattern leading you to something far better than what you imagined. God's plan doesn't always make sense at first. Sometimes he closes a door to protect you from what you cannot yet see. Sometimes he removes people from your life because their presence would hinder your growth. Sometimes he lets you face seasons of silence to teach you to stand on faith alone. You see, if God gave you everything you wanted the moment you asked, you would never learn endurance, patience, or true trust. And without trust, faith has no depth. The waiting period builds something in you that receiving never could. It builds spiritual strength. There's a divine rhythm to your life. And it moves in perfect harmony with God's perfect timing. The world urges you to rush, to chase after everything, to push yourself harder. But God says, be still and know that I am in control. Stillness is not a sign of weakness. It's strength under divine command. When you pause and become still, you make room for God to reveal his power. The miracle often appears when you release control. God doesn't compete with your need to be in charge. He waits for your surrender. And the moment you let go, things begin to shift in ways that are beyond your ability to plan. You've got to stop thinking that faith means everything will happen immediately. Sometimes faith means waiting patiently without losing hope. Sometimes it means walking through the wilderness with peace in your heart, knowing that God is still guiding you. You may not have the answers today, but you do have the assurance that God never fails. He will never allow your faith to be in vain. Every prayer you've whispered through your tears has been heard in the unseen. Every desire you've carried quietly in your heart has been noticed by the one who created it. When your heart aches for something pure and righteous, something born of faith, not pride, God takes that desire seriously. He nurtures it, shapes it, and aligns it with his divine plan. He doesn't disregard your heart. He refines it. And in that refining, you begin to understand the difference between desire and destiny. Desire comes from the heart, but destiny comes from God. When your desires align with his purpose, the impossible becomes possible. You must remember that miracles don't unfold in comfort. They happen in faith-filled spaces. They come when you've exhausted all your strength and yet refuse to give in to doubt. When everything seems uncertain, that's when trust becomes your greatest weapon. God doesn't work through fear. He works through faith. Fear closes the door to miracles, but trust flings it wide open. So when doubt whispers it's over, respond with faith that declares God isn't finished with me yet. The miracle you're waiting for could be just one act of trust away, one prayer away, one moment of surrender away. God often tests your faith right before the breakthrough arrives. That's why the struggle feels hardest just before victory. The pressure you are feeling is a sign that something divine is about to emerge. Don't give up at the threshold of your miracle. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep declaring God's power over your situation, because what's ahead of you is far greater than what lies behind. Sometimes God allows life to strip away everything you rely on so that you can learn to depend solely on him. He removes distractions to refocus your attention on him. He lets the noise fade so you can hear his whisper. And in that quiet place, he begins to show you that what you once thought was a delay was actually a setup. What you perceived as rejection was divine protection. You thought you were being overlooked, but God was preparing to overwhelm you with favor. There are times when you must walk by faith while everyone else doubts. You'll have to trust God when reason says it's over. You'll need to hold your head high when the world questions your faith. But the moment you stand firm, heaven begins to move on your behalf. Faith is not passive. It's powerful. It calls things that aren't visible into being. When you say faith, you speak God's language. When you step out in faith, you align yourself with God's will. And when your faith is firmly grounded in Him, no storm can tear apart what He has planned for you. Many people claim to trust God, but true trust is demonstrated in the midst of the storm. It's easy to trust when the road is clear and smooth, but real faith is forged in the darkness. When you can't see, yet you still believe. When you can't feel, but you still know. That's the faith that moves mountains. That's the trust that opens the floodgates of heaven. You don't need to know the how or the when. You only need to know the who. And that who is God, faithful, eternal, and unchanging. The same God who created the universe knows how to create your future. The same God who parted the Red Sea can separate you from your struggles. The same God who brought water from a rock can bring blessings from your brokenness. He has not stopped performing miracles. We've just stopped expecting them. But God is calling you to believe once more, to dream again, to trust again. He's saying, I haven't forgotten my promises to you. Keep your faith alive because your miracle is already on its way. When you live with anticipation, you make space for God to move. Expectation is faith in action. It's waking up every morning declaring, God, I know you're working even when I can't see it. It's speaking life into situations that seem dead. It's choosing to smile despite uncertainty, knowing that joy isn't dependent on outcomes, but on trust. When you trust God fully, peace becomes your constant companion. You stop worrying about what's ahead because you know who holds the future. Some of you have been praying for what feels impossible. But remember, impossibility is the stage where God shows His greatest power. If it were easy, you wouldn't need faith. If it made sense, it wouldn't require trust. God often waits until things seem hopeless so that when the miracle arrives, no one can take credit except Him. He wants you to know that it wasn't luck or coincidence or human strength, but His divine intervention. Never forget this. God knows how to surprise you. He knows how to exceed your expectations. He knows how to turn your pain into power and your waiting into awe. One moment of favor can undo years of struggle. One divine connection can change your entire path. One act of obedience can unlock doors that have been sealed for generations. That's why you must remain faithful in the little things, because big miracles are often hidden in small acts of faith. Don't compare your journey to anyone else's. God's timing for you is unique and different from His timing for others. What you perceive as a delay might be divine acceleration in disguise. He may be building something greater than you imagine. When you see others advancing, don't envy them. Trust that God is writing a special story just for you. Each person's miracle unfolds at its own time. Yours is coming at the perfect moment, bringing the most glory to God and the most growth to your soul. There is a powerful truth that will set your heart free. You don't have to chase what's already been written for you. The right opportunity, the right door, the right breakthrough will find you when your heart is aligned with God's plan. You can't miss what is divinely destined for you. What is meant to be yours cannot be taken, delayed, or denied when your trust is firmly placed in Him. So stop chasing after things and start pursuing God. Because when you seek Him first, everything else will fall into place. You might be standing at the crossroads of uncertainty, wondering if the next step will bring disappointment or deliverance. Take that step in faith. God meets you as you move forward. The path doesn't become clear until you take action. Trust isn't about standing still in fear. It's about walking forward with the assurance that even if you stumble, God will catch you, When your heart is grounded in trust, you navigate life with unwavering peace because you know that nothing happens by chance. Every moment is under his control. Pay attention. God is far from finished with your story. The chapter you're in may be filled with sorrow, but the next chapter is being written with victory. Don't close the book prematurely. Don't assume silence means the end of the story. God is still writing, still shaping, still weaving miracles into the tapestry of your life. One day you will wake up and realize that everything you waited, prayed, and cried for has arrived. Not little by little, but suddenly. Because when God acts, he acts swiftly. That's why you must keep your heart pure and your faith strong. Doubt hinders miracles, but trust speeds them up. The more you trust, the more God can release. The deeper your surrender, the more visible his power becomes. When your will aligns with his, blessings flow effortlessly. Because miracles aren't earned, they are entrusted to those whose hearts remain firm in faith. So lift your spirit today. Speak to your own soul and declare, God knows the desires of my heart and I trust him completely. Say it until your doubt fades and your faith rises. Say it until peace returns and fear loses its grip. When your words align with your beliefs, your reality begins to transform. God is not just hearing your prayers, he's observing your persistence. He's measuring your trust, he's testing your endurance, and when your faith passes the test, the miracle will arrive suddenly, beautifully, and unmistakably from his hand. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep anticipating, because the same God who began your story will bring it to completion and victory. The desires he placed in your heart weren't mere accidents. They are divine signs of what is to come. Hold on to that promise. For the one who created your he, Art knows exactly how to fulfill it. And he will do it in a way that leaves no room for doubt that it was him all along. So now I ask you, what will you do with the truth that God knows the desires of your heart? Will you continue doubting, or will you finally trust him with everything you are? Will you keep trying to control what only he can command, or will you surrender it all to his hands? The time has come for you to release your burdens and renew your faith. God is waiting for your trust, not your explanations. He doesn't need your plan. He needs your belief. When you surrender every worry, every dream, every hidden hurt to him, you give him permission to work in ways that will astonish you. You open the door for the miraculous. Let your heart soften toward the one who has always been by your side. Reflect on your life, the times you thought you would never make it, the nights when all you had left was prayer, and remember who carried you through those moments. That same God is still with you today. He has not changed and never will. If he has brought you this far, he will not leave you here. He is not a distant observer, but your constant source of strength. He knows what you need even before you speak it. All he asks is that you trust him enough to release your fears and hold on to your faith. So lift your eyes and speak to your heart, God, I trust you completely. Say it until your spirit truly believes it. Say it until your heart finds peace. Let that trust become your solid foundation, your anchor, your everyday mindset. Because when you trust, peace follows. When you trust, strength grows. When you trust, miracles will find you. This is the invitation to live each day with a faith that stands firm, a heart that remains unwavering, and a spirit that refuses to give in. Let this be the moment you draw a line and declare from now on, I will live by faith, not fear. I will believe even when I can't see. I will rest in the assurance that God knows my heart and will fulfill its desires in his perfect timing. That choice